Hello and welcome to episode 7 of Appropriate Audiences for the fall 2013 semester. I'm your host, James Zorn, and I'm here joined by Matt McGroarty and Melissa Weisinger. And today we're going to be talking about Captain Phillips, directed by Paul Greengrass and starring Tom Hanks. So guys, let's just jump right into this. What were your first expectations going in?
At first, I was kind of a little skeptical. I didn't think I was going to like it. And then they right away jumped into the kidnapper so fast, and I was surprised. But once I watched the whole movie, I loved it. It was not what I thought. It wasn't my favorite movie, but it was all right. Okay.
What about you?
I went in having already seen the trailer like a couple months ago, whenever it is that I saw it. And I was like, oh man, that's probably going to be a pretty good movie with Tom Hanks in it. And I wasn't wrong, but I mean...
It's Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. I love Tom
Should have said that. He's the best.
Tom Hanks.
Tommy Hanks.
So I'm going to agree with you about the expectations. I was expecting great things because it's Tom Hanks. I mean, come on. But let's just jump right into some general thoughts because you were kind of leaning in on that. So I'll let you go first. What were your general thoughts about it? Because you kind of hinted that you weren't wrong, but I'm sensing something more that you want to say.
Okay. It's not that it's a bad movie, because it's not. It's a really good movie. It's solid. It's got Tom Hanks in it. Overall, the production quality is sweet. There's nothing really wrong with it. Maybe it might have just been me. Like, I wasn't like hugely into it. Like, I was watching it, I'm like, oh man, this is suspenseful. Oh man, the end.
It was
oh man,
suspenseful.
stuff's happening. But it was like, oh man.
It didn't leave you with that, like, wow impression at the end of it.
Yeah.
So it was sort of just like...
It was a good movie.
Yeah. But it wasn't something that you would like go tell your friends like, yo, like this movie. But we'll get into that at the end.
Mine was not blown.
Yeah.
It was not like my top 10 favorite movie where it kept your attention. Like, you always say, if I look at the time, it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
And I did catch myself looking at the time. It's like,
I thought
about that.
It was,
no.
And it wasn't even all that long, too. Like,
No.
it wasn't the best thing that you were looking at the time for a 2-hour movie. Like, if it was longer, it would be okay. But so going off of all that we've said here, let's talk about some of the things that the director did in the suspense category, because we were talking about that. It kind of almost had that Zero Dark 30 feel to it, where that like Zero Dark 30 effect, where you knew what was going to happen. It's not like you're going in thinking, oh man, like I'm going to be so surprised, there might be a twist ending. No, you know that he's going to survive, but yet you find yourself, I at least found myself very worried for Captain Phillips, and I think that that's something very hard to do. But do you think that did you guys find yourself being like on the edge of your seat, like wanting to figure out what happened, or were you like, okay, like, come on, like we know what happens?
I mean, I don't know about you, but the way he just jumped on that little bit, I guess that little boat, I don't know what you call it, I was like, oh, I didn't expect him to be so willing about helping them out. And then towards the end when he was on the boat, he never really fought them. But when they were trying to get the 3 guys, the shooters, to get the green light to shoot, I was like, oh my God, like, is he gonna die? Like, I thought he was gonna be alive. That like really like I couldn't move from the screen.
Awesome.
Yeah.
For me, when movies either have their endings ruined to them, like, because this was based after a true story, so obviously we know the ending, or like even if something's spoiled for me, it's less like, oh man, he's gonna live, like I'm not worried about it. It's like, how is he going to live?
I can definitely agree with you.
So like the
I felt
suspense
that
is
too.
like, what's gonna happen to him before he like ends up being okay.
It's like the suspense of finding out how he goes about reaching his ending. I like that answer a
And
lot.
like you said too, like there's things that come up that you would never even think of coming up.
I definitely agree with you guys on that. But so going off of all that we've said here, we're just going to take a quick little break, and we're going to get into our segments here. So first off, we have Jake Troy and Steve Bresky to bring us some information and opinions on the newest trailer in Hollywood. So what's on the agenda today, guys?
I'm Jake. I'm Steve. And this week on Trailer Talk, we're going to be talking about a little trailer called Retrieval. So Steve, based on the trailer, what do you think about the movie?
I think it looks really good. Looks like an action-packed thriller.
Yes.
Very reminiscent of Inception.
Yeah, I agree.
That was a great movie. So if it's anything like, or, you know, inspired by, definitely excited to see this actually. So what about you?
I agree. It's like, looks original, looks
Definitely.
I don't know, well filmed. I just think overall it looks like a decent film. And I know a little bit about it. I know like it's about a cop that is given this chance to, you know, use this procedure that is going to let him go through some memories and possibly change some things that, you know, regrets, things that he wished he had done. You know, so like it's cool. It's like it's original. I don't think I've ever seen a movie like this. I mean, besides Inception.
Right.
You know, and like great cast with that movie.
Yeah.
And this one, you know, little lesser known people, but it's
Right.
exciting. Yeah.
I think it's exciting to see something not so mainstream look
Exactly.
this promising and
Yeah.
look this unique and original. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it. Would you, based on the trailer, see it?
I think I would. Yeah. It looks exciting. I like action movies, and it's
Yeah.
actually been a while since I've been to the theater to see one like this.
Right.
So I think like the last one was actually Inception. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's like the last like action
Ironic.
movie. Yeah. So yeah, based on the trailer, what do you think?
Hands down.
Hands up.
I think I'm definitely going to see it. Just the fact that it's not mainstream.
Yeah.
You know.
It's unique. It's more unique. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to see how the plot plays out because I
Mhm.
know it only scratched the surface of that. So, you know, I'm definitely going to see it.
Cool. All right. Well, for now, I'm Jake.
I'm Steve.
Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks so much, guys. And now we actually have Matt with us, and he and Haley are going to be going back to the couch for a bad movie night on Netflix. So what'd you guys watch this time?
We decided to watch The Room, which is honestly one of the worst movies you could ever watch. Like, it's just so bad.
Heard of it.
It gained a lot of popularity online, so like a lot of people were like watching it because they're like, "Yo, this is the worst movie ever," and then we watched it, and it was the worst movie.
Awesome. So let's take a look at what you got for us.
Hello, and welcome to Notorious Netflix, a program dedicated to showcasing some of the worst movie masterpieces Netflix has to offer. I'm Haley.
And I'm Matt.
Oh, hi, Matt. I didn't see you there. And this week, we watched another movie not on Netflix, but easily findable through a quick Google search. What some consider to be the Citizen Kane of bad movies. The Room.
Suffice to say, watching it was absolute torture. I recall praying for death about 10 times through my viewing.
Well, Matt, your suffering will never end now because you get to live with that memory.
You're tearing me apart, Haley!
Wishes of death aside, The Room begins with Mark giving Lisa a new dress as a spontaneous gift. And then there's a 7-minute sex scene. And so begins a new game on Notorious Netflix. Was this supposed to be a porn? First off, a bunch of long drawn-out sex scenes.
2. In one of the sex scenes, 2 friends of Mark and Lisa sneak into their house and have sex on their couch.
3. When Lisa and her mother walk in on them, they act like nothing's wrong at all. Mark and his friend even joke about it later.
4. The writing is atrocious. Some of the lines that come out of the characters' mouths are ludicrous, and the entire scene in the flower shop should be a horrible movie masterpiece all by itself.
Let's not forget my personal favorite scene, where Lisa's mom reveals to her that she has breast cancer in the most nonchalant way possible.
Only to have it never be mentioned again throughout the rest of the movie.
5A. The acting is even worse than the writing. You heard that right, people. It is somehow worse. Tommy Wiseau is the worst offender of this in the entire movie, making us wonder if he's overacting, underacting, or just plain horrible.
5B. You know it's bad when your best actor is a side character that shows up on the screen for all of about 2 minutes.
6. The plot. This is honestly the worst thing about this movie. The plot's completely nonsensical, with Lisa bringing about the downfall of Johnny just because she sort of could, I guess. There's never a clear indication of why she does anything besides, I just want to, or he's not enough for me. Pretty sure we're led to believe she's just sort of crazy, but even that's not exactly explained either.
All in all, I think we can declare that this movie was definitely supposed to be a softcore porn. But let's look at the positives. The Room, despite its numerous flaws, is a hilarious movie to watch both by yourself and with friends.
The lines you can draw from this film, such as, oh hi Mark, and you're tearing me apart, Lisa, among others, are just so ridiculous and funny. It'd be a crime to pass this one up.
All in all, we see why The Room has become so popular the last few years, and we agree that it is a definite movie to check out. It's ascended the typical horrible movie masterpiece and deserves to be praised for being truly the worst thing ever. The Citizen Kane of horrible films.
I give The Room 5, I am fed up with this world, out of 5.
And I give it 5 kid getting held at gunpoint for shortchanging a drug dealer, out of 5.
That's all for this week's Notorious Netflix. Check us out next time for more horrible movie masterpieces.
Wow, that was definitely some quality work, guys. So let's get back into our discussion about Captain Phillips here. So one of my absolute favorite aspects of this movie was how the director dealt with this sort of fine line of dealing with how he's going to portray the Somalian pirates. And I was worried going in that he would treat it like, oh, you know, they're so evil and like they're not human and stuff like that, and how could they do this to their ship? But I liked how they gave them the given circumstances that they did, because I really didn't think that it would be fair to make them these evil people, because they are from a different side of the world that, you know, have different ways of going about life. I don't want to condone it, but it's just a fact. So I really liked how they gave them all different personalities, and you found yourself like being a little bit more sympathetic with some than others, and I just really thought that he did a great job. But what did you think about how
Yeah.
they handled that?
I definitely agree. I was surprised that I was able to relate with them even a little bit. Like when the one stepped on the glass and his foot was hurt, and you saw he appreciated how Tom Hanks helped him. And then you saw how he respected him back by giving him water or letting him move around. You expected them to be more harsh, and when they were doing nice things, I was very taken back. Like, I liked that aspect of the movie.
Awesome.
I think it was nice to give them, you know, a backstory.
Mm-hmm.
So if they just kind of popped up out of nowhere, it'd be like, well, why are random pirates coming out of nowhere to come and get this ship? But it was nice. It was nice to see the backstory, because it also gives all the motivations for all the characters, like we were talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely like how you mentioned that, because I don't want to call it an art form, but like I liked how they were in Somalia and they were going through that process of picking who to go, and it was almost like an insult to people when they weren't selected to be these pirates. Like, it was almost like it was a very, like, it gave it context, which I really liked. I liked that they showed that scene in Somalia at first. But so going off of what we said here, we're just going to get into our last few questions. So first of all, is there anything else that you want to add, or do you think that we got everything in, or do you want to add just one more quick tidbit in?
I definitely think we should talk about the end scene. That was my favorite. I think that if they didn't have that, I would have left the movie feeling really different about it. I don't think I would have liked it as much. You actually felt that Tom Hanks' performance, like he brought it all the way. You felt it, like I wanted to cry for him at the end. It was so touching,
Oh my gosh.
and it wrapped it up.
I love Tom Hanks.
We all love
He's so
Tom
good.
Hanks.
like no matter what my feelings are on the movie, like Tom Hanks' performance is incredible. Like,
Yeah.
he brought it to the table, and it was like, yes, Tommy, thank you.
Oh gosh.
Thank you.
I'm actually so glad that you guys mentioned that, because I have to agree with you. I mean, like you said, regardless of your feelings on the movie, like no one had that thing to say about the last scene. Like, it was just so real, and you know, you were almost nervous that they would kind of do that cliche thing where it was like, okay, you fade out, and then it's like, oh hey, Captain Phillips is back to being happy, and he's with his family again, and all that. And they left it at a very real moment. Like, you know that people like that go through that, but to experience it with him, I mean, come on.
It
like,
was definitely real.
yeah. I mean, that's all you gotta say. Just incredible.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. So our final, most important question here is, would you recommend this to go for your friends to go see in a theater, to wait for it on Netflix, or to just skip it altogether? I'll go first, and I'll say it's kind of like that line between Netflix and theater. Like, I can see, I don't know if I would say that it's justifiable to spend $12.50 on it, but it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to do it. But if you want to, wait for it on Netflix. That'll be fine too. What about you?
I have to agree. I don't think if I did it again, I wouldn't go see it in the movies. I would recommend to see this movie, but wait for Netflix. Wait for Netflix.
I'm giving it a solid Netflix. Like, it was a good movie. Tom Hanks' performance was awesome, but like it kind of didn't really do it that much for me, and that happens sometimes with movies. It's definitely like, if you want to watch a movie and you're like, what should I watch today? I'd give it a shot.
Awesome. So I think that's all the time that we've got here for tonight. But I want to thank my guests Matt and Melissa for joining me one more time tonight. And please don't forget to follow us on Twitter by going to @APPRO_audiences, and like us on Facebook by going to facebook.com/appropriateaudiences. But until then, that's our show for this week. So I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.